So by last class, um, we are seeing what the options that we are available in the EC2 machine, and then we were seeing what is this AWS IAM rules. By using that, how we can like a one resource in AWS can access the other resource. So we create a policy and then attach that policy to the role. So and we choose like for which service it has to be attached. We have seen that for initially, and then we move to EC2 deployments. So all the options like the instance type, the storage, and some advanced options, the placement group options. So we have, and then some networking options. So we have seen everything yesterday. Today we are going to start with Amazon VPC. So Amazon VPC is one of the main component because without network option you cannot deploy most of the resource in AWS. Okay, so what is this VPC means? VPC is like a virtual private cloud. So like in order for you to deploy an architecture, the connectivity from one resource to another resource will be carried out by this VPC alone. So, so it's a virtual network. Okay, it makes isolation from your internet. So here you have different components. You have to deploy those components based on your needs. So this is an like a sample VPC component diagram. So you no need to like get like confused seeing this complex diagram now. So for we will explain one by one in the class, and when we will see at the final end of this class, we will know at least the few components that we are listed here. So it's like an overall VPC component diagram that we actually use in the organizations. But yeah, what you have to know is like so constant what I told in yesterday in class. So it's a region. Consider it as like any region like Asia Pacific here from Mumbai or Hyderabad. Some region is there. In that region, you have VPC. The green layer is what we have here is like a VPC. The green layer what we have is the VPC here now. So the blue one is the region. So inside the region we have the VPC. Inside the VPC what we will have some subnets. So they are classifying the subnets as public subnets and private subnets. What the difference between the public subnet and private subnet? So the main difference would be like so the machines that's going to sit in your public subnet will have access to internet. Like once you log into the machine, if you try to download some files from the internet, the public machines can able to perform that operations, but the machines in the private subnets are not able to, because it's a private machine. I don't want any interaction to the world because of my security concerns. So but sometimes even though it's a private subnet machine, I need sometimes I need to download some documentation or some binaries from the internet. Without that, all my system libraries will get like the older one, because then like, when we do some apt update and all, what will happen if a new package has been released in that package manager, you have to download them. So those you would definitely need an internet to your machine. So the machine that we deploy in private will not have the access to internet, but what we will do, there is something called NAT gateway is there. So, okay, first, before explaining NAT gateway, so in the VPC, you will have this internet gateway. Okay, so we create an VPC and then we attach this internet gateway. So, what will happen? This internet gateway will take care. So, throughout this VPC, whatever the machine you deploy, this internet gateway is the responsible one, like to receive the traffic from the various machines in the VPC and route the traffic to the internet. You see, that's what this graph plots here. Okay, um, so here you see I have some machine here, and it is going through a router, and then it is going to a the internet gateway. This router is just in some route tables. So we will see what this route table mean, because by using this route table alone you can control the internet flow of between the subnets and in between the VPC. So we will see that. So now you can ask me like in the private machine, but the public subnet machine can access the internet gateway by using the route table, but how can the machines from the private subnet can access? So that's why we have something called, yeah, a NAT gateway. What this NAT gateway means? So NAT gateway means network um, and like a network access transfer gateway, what will it will do? It will receive the private packets from the EC2 machines and then convert them uh, to a public packets and then push it to the internet gateway. So if it is reached to the internet gateway, it reaches the internet. So that's how these machines will like access the internet. Okay, I've given you an overview, but you just wanted to understand just these components. In the class we will be seeing the demo today, so like which and one by one we will be seeing like everything. So before explaining that, so yesterday I was explaining about some CI/CD, right? Classless inter-domain routing. Okay, CI/CD means like classless in inter-domain routing. So it just in kind of a range. Okay, if it is like /32 means it is a single IP. Okay, if it is like /31 means 32 minus 31, it's 1. It's a 2 power 1. Okay, then we have two IPs. So that's how you should calculate the IPs, because in the total world we have like 2 power 32 IPs in the public IPs. So you can consider this. We have up to the IP range begins from this /32. Um, so if it is like 31, then we have 2 power 1 IP ranges. If it is 30, then it's like 2 power 2. Uh, 2 power 2 is like 4. Then instead of here 32, if you have 30, it will have the 4 IP ranges, and it will the 4 IP ranges, the last digit will alone change. Okay, that's the meaning of these things. Okay, um, you see WD they give some example here as well. Like if it is /32, it is like one IP, and then this like say 0.0.0 means all IPs throughout the world. So also they have given some example here. If you see, if it is ends with 26 means 32 minus 6, so 26, it will be like 6. So then 2 power 6, like 2 power 6 means like it's 64 IPs. So those ranges will be defined from year to year. So like it changes from like 0 to 63. Only the last digit changes, because this digit can be changed from 0 to 255. Okay, so mostly wherever you see the IP range starts with 192 or 172 or 10.0 are always mostly will be like private IPs. So those are constant IPs. So in even if in your system, if you do some IF config or like IP config, you will be seeing any of this series only, either 192 or 172 or the 10 dot series. So you have to be very clear about the CSC that, but like when you have then practice these things, you will get to know more about these things. So here what they're saying, like let's see, like if it is /8 means the last three digit can change. If it is /16 means this last two digit will change. If it is /24 means the last one digit will change. So if it is /13 means none of the numbers will be changed. Okay, that's the meaning of these things. So you always need to choose a bigger IP ranges, like some /16 or /8, because they will contain like here it can change from 0 to 1 or 255. Here it can change from 0 to 255. So you will have a larger VPC range here. So if you deploy a multiple resources there, you will get multiple IPs there. You will not have like IP exhaust issues there. If your IP is exhaust, you have to add some more IP ranges in the same VPC. So that's a different kind of scenario. So let me move back to so here we in the slide we explain um, in detail like the /32 is like one IP, 31 is equal to 2 IP, 30 means 4 IPs, and how the ranges changes. So everything is listed here. So let me move back to so we already seen what's the difference between the public and private IP. Public IP can be start with from any ranges from 1 to 2 to like whatever the range can be, but mostly the private IP will be follow these ranges only. Like it starts with like 10, 172 and 192. You can just keep remembering these things. Um, So by default, for like if you don't have any specific reservations in your VPC, you will have, you can, in per region you can have only the 5 VPCs. Okay, because if you try to deploy more than that, you have to like raise requests to this AWS team and then get some exceptions in this year. So most people, you will definitely have multiple products. You can, it's for like a new account or which you have, that you will be having like only the 5 VPC ranges, so that you can get increased once you reach the AWS support team. So also, so if you're trying to create multiple VPCs in your region, the IP ranges should not be get overlapped, because what will happen, if we have two VPCs with the same range in the particular, you'll consider in the Mumbai, I have a VPC with some 10 dot series, and the private by IP of the machine which I deployed in this VPC is like 10.0.0.1. Okay, now consider in Hyderabad I have one more VPC. Those ranges also same, with the same 10 series. Then there's a chance the same IP address can be get for that machine as well. It's a private IP. Okay, public IP, it will not be shared. Okay, if you are using a public IP, then nobody else in the world would be will have that public IP. But private IP is different case. For each and every VPC, that private VPC can be different. So if you are like if you are in an organization, that you should always plan for the VPC in such a way that your VPC ranges should not overlap between your regions or within the regions. So that you should take care. Mostly like this VPC ranges will be suggested by for you from the your higher end people, like some managers or some IT people who has been managing it from the start of the organization. Okay, so that's why I said like VPC like very important. Now consider in the region will be going to deploy VPC, and then what we will do is like we will create an two subnets. One is like public subnet and private subnets, and then I will deploy a machine here and I will show it is able to access internet, and then I will deploy a machine private subnet as well, and it will not able to access the subnet. So no. Mm, Now what I do, I go to AWS console, I just type VPC here. You see here, right? A VPC comes here. You go to the VPC. Mm, Here you see like your VPCs. Click that your VPC. So by default in the like Asia Pacific, or like if you move to any other regions, you will see an VPC that is provided by the AWS by default itself. Because when I went to EC2 deployment, I need to have some VPC, right? So that's the reason for all the regions. AWS will create one VPC by default in that 172 series. So and it's a private IP ranges. Now what I'm plan to create is like I will first create an VPC here. You click the VPC and you choose the option called VPC only, and then I give like VPC demo. You can give any custom names. So but for in real time organization, for each and every naming, they will have some standards for them. Okay, for to tag them. So like I give you like Phoenix demo or something, and then you have to choose some CIDR ranges. So what the CIDR ranges I should have? So I'm going to choose like 0.0.0 slash 16 here, and then that's it. So you can rest your everything, you can follow the default configurations, because it should be like IPv4. IPv4 means this one only. You will have 4 digits here, um, and then I no need of any IPv6 here, and then I create VPC. Now if you see, a VPC has been created for you. If you click here and then if you click here, you will see the details for you, it's showing here. So block public IPs is off, DNS host names disabled. So you don't consider about those things. You see now the VPC is created. Now let me go to subnets. So when a VPC is created, by default three subnets will be get created for the AWS one. Okay, not the now we are going to create new subnets under my new VPC, but these subnets are created in different zones. Like you can see, these are created by default. In we talked about like at least we have three availability zones: AP South, iPhone 1A, and one second, and AP South 1B and 1C. So this will be provided by AWS by default itself. Now I went to the subnet section. I will be create subnets. Now what I click is like I click it as uh, public subnet. Hmm. Oh, first I have to choose a VPC here. I choose my VPC. This VPC is by it's a default VPC. This is the VPC I created. It starts with some 10 series. Now and then I have to give name for this. So what I will give it like public subnet demo. And then it is asking me to prefer the range. I will be choosing it as like 10 dot 1 dot 0 dot 0 slash 24. Once again, I'm getting call. నేను క్లాస్లో ఉండేనరా. హలో చెప్పు, నేను క్లాస్ ఎత్తా ఉండేనరా. క్లాస్ ఎత్తా ఉండేవా? చెప్పు. ఇప్పుడు ఇప్పుడు క్లాస్ ఎత్తా ఉండేవా? ఇప్పుడు ఎత్తావు నేను. ఫోన్స్ ఏమన్నా ఒకే మాట చెప్పియా సీనన్న. చెప్పాను. ఒకే టక్ చెప్పి ఒకే ఫోన్స్ ఏమన్నా ఫోన్ ఎత్తలాపని. వాడు ఎవరితో మౌన్ మాట్లాడుతా ఉండి. ఏం మాట్లాడుతుండే? ఫోన్ మాట్లాడుతా ఉండి వాడు. సరే సరే చెప్పు ఫోన్ చేసేదానికి. సరే ఓకే. రే శ్రీని, రే శ్రీని, యువన్ గారు నేను ఫోన్ చేయమంటాను చూడు. யுவன் கார்டு என்ன ஃபோன் செய்ய மாட்டேன்றா. யுவன் ஃபோன் செய்ய மாட்டேன்றா. யுவன் உன்னை ஃபோன் பண்ண சொல்றான். யுவன் யுவன் యువన్ గారు ఫోన్ నీకు చేసిన నువ్వు ఎత్తలా పంటా చూడు. నేను క్లాస్ ఉన్నాను పో. లాక్సే లాక్సే. Okay, let's continue the class. So I'm going to give the public subnet demo, and I'm going to give the ranges 10.1.0.0/24. So and then I'm going to choose the option called create subnet. So you no need to you just need to select from which VPC you want to deploy, and then give some name and give the range for the public subnet demo. Now it's created. Oh, one second. Hmm. Hmm. Now I will create one more subnet, which I will call it as public subnet. Okay, so I didn't choose any regions for this one, so it must be I had selected the AP South 1C. That's fine for me. Mm, Now I'll create one more subnet, and then I choose the VPC, and then I go and select uh, in the same the 1C region. I choose to my VPC now, and then I'm naming it as private subnet. And then I'm giving the range as 10.1.0.2.0/24, and then I'm choosing the region as legacy zone as AP South 1C because my public subnet has deployed it. You can't control over this by while creating the public subnet. I didn't choose. That's why I'm choosing it to have both the public and private subnet in the same availability zone. Now and then you create it. So now if you see, like I have two subnets created for me, the public subnet and private subnet. Both are actually in the AP South 1C. But what I want to show you is like by just naming it as a public and private, it doesn't get it as like an public or private. Okay, so first you should have an internet gateway. First of all, in the VPC you should have the internet gateway. Let me go to the internet gateway here. So this is the internet gateway that has been attached to the default VPC. You have to create one more internet gateway. That's why then alone, whatever the VPC you can create will have access to internet. So I will create something called IGW-demo. That means IGW means like internet gateway. And then I create it. Hmm. Once I created, see that it is suggesting me to attach it to any VPC. So if you click it, this is the VPC. There is no internet gateway because this VPC I have created. You would just add the VPC and then attach internet gateway. If you have chosen that, if you come to internet gateway, you can see both the internet gateways are actually in attached state. So this is and you can see the VPC IDs which is got attached to it. It is attached to VPC demo now. Now if you go to the subnets, so and then you click the public subnet or something, and then you just go to this route tables. Here you see there was an error loading a route table because this an I named it as a public subnet, but how it will consider it's a route public subnet, and this I will consider as a private subnet. So for that you have to create something called route tables. Okay, what this route table means, it kind of a rule. Okay, so in the subnet only we are going to deploy some machines. Okay, I'm going to just specify uh, in the route table, if you see, and then I'll go and create I click it I am click it as public, and then public route table, and then I choose create here, and then I choose the VPC. In this VPC, I have to attach this route table, public RT. You first create it. You see, after I didn't specify any CI/CD ranges here. Once it after it get created, you see it started with the VPC range, and it says 10.0.0/16 local. What this means? It means, so in this route table, so if anybody like any machine or any application trying to access the private IP in within this range, because this last two digits is going to change, right? So from here, so any machine like any IP is like 10.0.1.1, if some machine is there and it has to access this 10.0.2.1, so by within the VPC, by using this route table only, it is going to access one machine to another machine. Now what I'm going to add here is like it is a public route table. It by just defining name you cannot give a like say it as a public route table. So what you have to do is like you have to edit the rules first. So what I'm going to edit here, I'm going to edit the rule and I'm going to add 0.0./0. This is meant internet now, right? So by I have to connect to internet by through the internet gateway, and then you choose the internet gateway which we created, which is called like IGW-demo, and then you save the changes. Now what this means, so if if it has to go to internet, it has to route through the internet gateway. If any IP ranges my application my machine is going to access, it should go by it should be routed in the local itself, because the last two digit is going to change, and you will get around more than like some thousand IP ranges here in the /16. So now you see like 10.16.16. So now the public for this ranges it will access these VPC. For this range it will go through the internet gateway. So similarly, I am going to create one more route table for private, and I am call it as private RT, and then I am going to create some VPC demo and choose it the VPC demo, and then I create it. Now you see after this private RT is created, only in the local it can route the it can like route the traffic, but if I wanted to internet it will not be. So how I can test these things? So what we can do is like we will go like duplicate this tab. I will go to EC2 now. I give it as like from public machine, and then I choose everything is default. And T2 micro and everything is there. I'm just going to create in the different VPC now. So I have my VPC demo here, and I'm going to create in my public subnet demo, and then that's it. Auto send public IP. Okay, it is disabled. That's fine. And then it is going to create one more security groups. That's fine, fine, fine. Then create. So let it create. I will create one more machine called public machine. Sorry, private machine. I'm going to leave all the options default. I choose my key value pair, and then in the network settings, so I am going to choose my VPC demo, and then I'm going to select the private subnet demo here, and then I leave all the configurations as default, and then I go click on launch instance. Hmm. The instance is ready. Let's wait for some time to it is getting in 3 micro. Okay, that's not an issue. I will delete it sometimes. Uh, hmm. So this must have some. Sorry, it doesn't get public IP here, so I'm not able to connect. That's fine, but you just remember the things whatever I'm saying here. So now, like, it will now let me go to the BPC section here. So what would have happened here is like it doesn't get the public IP. Let me go to the BPC. Public something. Okay, it's because it is asking me additional charges here. Um, That's fine. I will enable it. Okay, what I will do is like I will just explain the things. So what would happen when I deployed machines like let me first. I have terminated all the machines. What would happen when if I deploy some machines in this public subnet, it will have the access to internet, but these private machines will not have the access. For that, what you have to do is like first you should associate the route tables to the subnets. First, let me go here and then click the public route table. There is something called subnet association section is there. You should go there and edit subnet association, and then you click where you want this route table need to be added. So both this public subnet and private subnet are same, just the naming is changed, but just apart from that settings, all the settings are same. I want this public route table need to be associated to this public subnet demo, and then I save the associate. Now it got associated to this public subnet. There is one more thing called private subnet. So private subnet is there, right? I go to this private subnet route table, and then I choose the private subnet, and then I save the changes. Now if you go to the VPC, and then if you see the flow maps here you see uh, it is says we have two subnets. One is public subnet, and it is associated to this public route table, and it is connecting to the internet gateway. You get a graph, right? You connected now, because in the route table only for internet like 0.0./0, it is connected to internet gateway. But this private subnet, it's still private, it's still not able to connect to the internet gateway. How I'm going to create that first? So there is something called NAT gateway is available for you. You go to the NAT gateway section. It is like some network access translations to convert the private packets to public packets. You go and first create the NAT gateway. I created as NAT-demo, and then select the subnet. You while selecting the subnet, you should choose the you should choose the public subnet, because you always need to place this NAT gateway in the public subnet, public subnet, and in the private route tables you will be adding this NAT gateway for the internet, so 0.0. So I will do it so you can understand. So I know this is my public subnet demo which I created for in the AP South 1C. I just choose that, and then I leave the connectivity type as public, and then I don't need any elastic IP. Elastic IP means like the permanent public IP. That is what we call elastic IP in the AWS cloud. And then I create the NAT gateway. I don't want to create. Hmm. So I associated like it will be cost for me, and then I'm going to create. Now if you see, wait, let's wait for it to get profession. I want to show some details for you. Your NAT gateway is get created, and the NAT gateway type is like public, and if you see the primary private IP is like 10.0.1 and 226. So your subnets in the private machine has to reach here. How it is going to reach here? So uh, if I go to my route table now, and then in the routes, I'm going to edit a route now. For internet, previously in the public gateway, what we did is like we added the same range like 0.0./0, and then we choose the internet gateway. Now we are going to choose a NAT gateway. It's a private network, and then I choose the NAT gateway which I created, and you save the changes. Now what would happen? So the private machines in your cloud will as have the private subnet, and it associated with the private route table. This private route table have these two routes now, and where we have the NAT gateway now. So it will route the traffic to this NAT gateway, and where this NAT gateway sits, this NAT gateway sits in the public subnet. From here, the traffics are routed uh, to the to the internet. So that's how the flow will be. If you go to your VPC, and then if you see the resource maps now, you will see the demo here. You see public IP is going connected to the internet gateway, and then in the and in the private subnets it is connected to private route table, and it is connected with NAT demo, and it is sits in the public subnet only. Okay, so that's how the VPC will work. Other important components that what we have here is like elastic IPs. So elastic IPs are like a public IPs only, like because most of the organization for their application they will reserve these some IPs. Okay, um, so in those cases, they should associate and this elastic IP. Like associate means you will create new IPs and you keep it with them. Even if you use it or not, that's not like if you use it, that's fine. It is free for you. If it is like saving, and if like you are just got that reservation from the AWS, but you are not using that, then that would be cost for you. Okay, I'm not going to create any elastic IPs here. You just know to need to know that this is an public IP only. So and there is something called uh, security groups. So we already seen the security groups. What it is as by last class we see like inbound and outbound rules. If you take any security groups that it created, you can see the inbound rules, like it's like SSH is allowed here. By outbound rules, you see all the traffics are allowed here. In the inbound rule, it is allowing the SSH traffic in the TCP protocol on port 22 from throughout the world. But if you go for, because in inbound rules by default blocks everything, you have to explicitly open in the inbound rule. But in the outbound rule, it like by default it allows all the ports for outbound. If you see these outbound rule, here you can see all the traffics are already allowed. If you want that, but this is the default characters, you can edit it. If you don't want any outbound rules, you can just edit this rule, and then like make it a deny option here. But mostly nobody knows, like because outbound, why always people target in inbound side, by using the inbound only, somebody from the internet will access your machine, and they try to steal some data from machines. From outbound traffic, they cannot hack our machine. The chances are very less. That's the reason we always, mostly from the cloud perspective or any virtual machine perspective, we will be focusing on the inbound rules alone. um, Now let's go to this VPC pairing section. So like there is no VPC pairing here. Like what is this VPC pairing? So and when you need this, okay, like go to print option. So consider your machine, like I deployed a resource in Mumbai region, okay, and it has one VPC. Consider VPC Mumbai, and then you have some VPC in Hyderabad. HYD. So you have to pair these regions, okay, because these IP ranges will start from 10.0.0.0/16. But these IP ranges should be different. Those IP ranges should not be the same. Then only you will be able to pair. If both the IP ranges are in same range, you will not able to pair. Pair means you are out to connect like 10.1.0.0/16, because /16 means last two digits alone going to change. So these are in like two different networks now. Okay, when you pair them, what will happen? Like what the machines from from the Mumbai can connect to the Hyderabad, because the machine, whatever the VPC and machine that we create in the AWS, it's completely an isolated environment, right? but this is by default when we are updating the route table, you see like this range like 10.0./16, it is mentioned as local. That means the local routing is possible within the VPC, but not outside the any of other VPC. In order to because in business unit you will be having a lot of architectures and different scopes will be there. In those cases you have to do these pairings. So those times you have to connect like to, your machine from one internet from one VPC to another VPC. You first do need to do the pairing and need to update the route tables. Mm, this can be like in different scenarios. Either you can do the VPC sharing between the Mumbai region to Hyderabad, or it can be within the same region as well. For you, I can show some small demo. Like I go to some VPC and then I create one more VPC. I name it as VPC dem VPC test, or I can call it as VPC demo/2, and then I name it as 10.1.0.0./16, and then I create the VPC. Now I created that VPC. Um, Now you see, if you go to two VPCs, two VPCs are created. Both are in different ranges. The starting two numbers will be same, but the last two is going to be you see like it is 10.0, it is 10.1 one series. So both are different series, and you see nothing is created here. You leave about that. What you have to do is like you have to come to the pairing options. uh, the pairing can be possible within the region as well as the one region to another region as well. I go to the pairing section and then I create pairing, and then I choose like demo. I keep it as like demo uh, VPC 2, demo VPC 2, and naming it as like. Then I first choose the VPC, uh, to choose this VPC, and then now in it is asking where the second VPC is now. So I just given a demo VPC2, and then selected my VPC demo here, and then where the another VPC is, whether it's in the same account or in the another account. I know it is in my same account and actually it's in the same region. So I just choose a one more VPC like VPC demo here, demo 02, and then I create and I choose C associated, and then both are in different CI/CD ranges, and then I choose create pairing option. Once I did, the pairing is been requested. What I have to do is like if I go here, pending acceptance will be there. Um, hmm, it must be. I think I must have requested Gmail. Hmm. Here you see now it is. Oh, this is not the email. So okay, I will receive that invitation. So I have to accept the invitation, and then this both these VPCs will be paired. But what would happen? Just by accepting the VPC, it will work? No. What would have to happen? What you have to do is like in your route tables, like you might have different route tables and route sections here. What you have to specify is like you come to your routes, and then you choose your route table, and then you edit it. You edit that, and then you know, right? For this one VPC range, what the VPC range that we created is like 10.0 1.0.0 slash 16. You give that range here, and then what you have to do, instead of this internet gateway, you have to choose this pairing option. So here the pairing is still right. You just choose it and then save it. Now what will happen? It is a black hole because it's still not I accepted the VPC pairing. So this how it will work. So for my machine in this VPC demo, in order to connect to this VPC, like you have to add this new VPEC ranges here, and then you update the route table so they can talk to each other. So I think for VPC, I covered for the basic things I have covered. So I don't want to give much of the information. I know it will be little confusing for you because this public and private subnet will consume like it will be confusing for you. So uh, and there are a lot of other options here as well, like site to site VPNs, custom gateways. We will cover up in next classes if we have time. For now, I don't want you to give much more details. So we will see these slides now. So CA, VPC, we covered all the slides, like mm subnets, what is this internet gateway, and then the internet gateway has to be associated to the VPC, and then how the public machine is going to connect to the internet, and then Bastion, we didn't cover Bastion. I just will give you an overview. Mostly how the people from your local machine, you have a laptop, right, like how they will connect. What they will do is like the first users will connect to the machine in the public subnet, because this public subnet machine will have the public IP. Through the internet they will connect. Once they logged into this machine, they will connect to the private machines. So you just need to know what is Bastion means. Bastion means you will place that Bastion machine in the public subnet, and you use that machine to connect to the machines in the private subnet. So and then NAT gateway, we already seen what is NAT gateway. So NAT gateway is used to connect to internet for the public, so for the private machines. And then so that's the same thing I've been repeating here. And then security groups, uh, and then we were seeing the VPC peering, right? One thing you can remember is like for now, so the VPCs are always non-transitive. Okay, you always need to remember the VPC peerings are non-transitive. What that means, so I consider I have created a two VPCs like VPC A and VPC 2, VPC B. I did a VPC peering between A and B, and then there was one more VPC called VPC 3, and I did the pairing between B and C, um, and you did the pairing as well. Now, whether the pairing between the machine from the VPC-C can connect to VPC-A means no, it cannot connect. You have to do the different pairing here. That's why always these VPCs are very non-transitive. They call it as non-transitive. That means the meaning is like if you have three VPCs get interlinked with each other, like A is connected to B and B is connected to C, the A cannot reach to C directly. They have to do one more pairing. So this kind of internet pairings, what would can be for small scale application, that is very applicable. But when you have like a very high architecture and you have multiple resource in your organization, those times this will not work, and this is not very suitable for to go with this option. So there is one more option called transitive gateways. Instead of doing this VPC pairing, you see an option here called transitive gateway. Hmm. You see transitive gateway says you create this transit gateway and you attach your multiple VPC here. Like I will show you. So I attach uh, TG TGW, and then you choose some regions for this one, like transit gateway CID like L0 or something, and then you create it, and then you go to transit gateway attachment. Here in the attachment you have to choose the VPC. First I will take it as like TGW F11, and then it's still not created, I guess. So you choose the VPC and then you select what are the VPCs that you want to add. Mm. So, so I'm not getting graded because transit gateways are very costly, and it is still in the pending state. But I will delete it once it get created. So you can just remember instead of if I have like large environments, instead of creating VPC peering, I should be creating the transitive gateways to connect them. So I explained the same thing like VPC pairings here. Uh, and then so I think this is enough for today, and we have a lot of things here as well. But I don't want to give all the insights today and get make you confused. Uh, you see, right? The transit gateway. So I have two VPC here, like VPC one and VPC two, and then I have a transit gateway here, and it gets direct. By using them, it gets paired. This part you leave it. This is like some on-premise connection things. Um, any doubts for you here?